Welcome back to Halloween and Christmas 3, I'm Adam J. Now, one of the most important things about today is Christmas dinner with your family, or significant others, or your roommate because he offered to cook fake ziti, and because your entire family's in New York, but I digress. Regardless of the situation, we all know that when we think Christmas dinner, we think cannibalism. Really? Just me? No takers? Okay, I thought that was normal. Fuck it. We'll do it anyway. Here's my ranking of the Hannibal Lecter franchise. Coming in last for me is Hannibal Rising. This is the film that details Hannibal Lecter's backstory, showing how he became the cannibal we know, and by detailing how he became a cannibal, I mean really not explaining much at all. Most of the movie consists of Hannibal slaughtering Nazis and getting revenge for his young sister's death. Because that's what we were all expecting to see. There are things I like in this movie. I like the way it's shot, some of the kills are very memorable, and the actor Gaspar Ulliel playing the young Hannibal can be damn intimidating. His performance is pretty impressive, actually. Side performances by Rhys Ifans and Dominic West aren't bad either. The problem with this movie is that it really promised us to show us why Hannibal became the cannibal he is, and it really doesn't do that. The explanation they do give, if anything, should have put him off cannibalism altogether. But apparently it made him do the exact opposite for some reason. So basically these Nazis attacked his village when he was a kid in the middle of winter, killed his parents, didn't kill him and his sister for some reasons that baffle me, and I guess to survive, because they were snowed in, they killed his sister and ate her. And this is what apparently made him a cannibal. Now, this is the inciting incident of the film, so it's at the very beginning. I don't consider it a spoiler. And it's really not a bad backstory for him, it's just, why would this make him resort to cannibalism? After all the trauma with his sister, why would cannibalism be a go-to for him? Is it like a become what you hate thing? Did I miss that thing? It's weird and kind of sad because it's really the one thing that kind of tanks this story a bit. What's even weirder is that this movie was written by Thomas Harris, the guy who wrote all the Hannibal Lecter novels. I mean, I don't want to doubt the creator of this character, but I do have to say, huh? Even so, I don't hate this movie. On the contrary, I actually have not hated any entries in this series to date, and Hannibal Rising is very entertaining for what it is. It's a perfectly serviceable movie with a very creepy lead performance. I think if you go into this film expecting less Hannibal Rising and more Hannibal Man Begins, you'll have a good enough time with it. At number 5 for me is Hannibal, directed by Ridley Scott. This was the follow-up to Silence of the Lambs that saw Anthony Hopkins returning to the role after so many years. It picks up a decade after Silence of the Lambs left off, where Hannibal is on the run and Clarice Starling, played now by Julianne Moore, is a high-ranking agent in the FBI. Their paths cross again, though, when one of Hannibal's old victims, played by the always amazing Gary Oldman, uses his resources to get revenge on the cannibalistic killer. I really don't think this movie is great, if I'm being honest. There are several plot threads that really could have been cut for time. The film has pacing issues as a result, and I really did not like the ending of this movie. Why? Because I love the ending to the book, and in my opinion, it's not only better, but a lot more psychologically haunting. I get the whole adaptation angle, and I get that audiences may not have been as accepting of that book's ending, but it was really disappointing not to get the ending in that film. Still, the movie is well acted. Julianne Moore isn't as good as Jodie Foster in the role of Clarice, but she does a fine job with the material she has. Gary Oldman's fate in the movie is pretty damn sick, honestly. The score is nice, and Ridley Scott does a solid job directing this one. For me, it's simply some of the writing choices that hold this one back for me. Coming in at number 4 for me is Red Dragon. This was the prequel to Silence of the Lambs and a remake of another film that we'll get to in a few. This film shows how Hannibal was caught by Agent Will Graham, played in this version by Edward Norton, and how Will once again needs Hannibal's help in solving the case of a madman known as the Tooth Fairy. Red Dragon is actually a very well-made movie, which is saying a lot considering that it's a Brett Ratner film. Yeah, I gotta give the guy some props here in that the film is not only shot well, but he also manages to get great performances out of his actors. Edward Norton, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Mary Louise Parker, Ralph Fiennes, all of them are great. Out of all the adaptations of this storyline, I think Ralph Fiennes is my favorite interpretation of Francis Dolarhyde. And don't get me wrong, I loved Richard Armitage in the role, and Tom Noonan did a great job too. But Ralph Fiennes really elevates this character to a whole nother level of insanity. It says a lot when an actor can not only do justice to a character, but can also do everything in their power to make the character better. However, there's certain things that have always bugged the hell out of me in this film. First and foremost, Anthony Hopkins. And it's not that he's bad, he's not. In fact, he's as good as he's ever been. But he is so much older in this film, and it takes a lot of suspension of disbelief to convince me that this takes place before Silence of the Lambs. I mean, you watch this and then watch Silence of the Lambs, and it's incredibly distracting how much younger he looked in that film. Honestly, it's the same thing with Anthony Heald playing Chilton. It's just, God, it's distracting. Also, while Edward Norton is very good in the movie, I'm just gonna say it, he is my least favorite interpretation of Will Graham. A lot of that has to do with the way the character is written in the screenplay, and I'm sorry, but this Will Graham just does not have the psychological edge that a character like Will Graham should have. This is a very tortured character who can empathize with both victims and killers. And Edward Norton just doesn't really bring that in this version, at least in my opinion. Still, as a film, despite some serious distracting elements, I think it's damn impressive and worth your time. Coming in at number 3 for me, and I'm sure this will upset a lot of people, is Silence of the Lambs. Now, make no mistake, I love this movie. The Oscar noms and wins it received were more than well deserved. It does the book tremendous justice. Anthony Hopkins is iconic in the role of Hannibal Lecter. Jodie Foster is the definitive Clarice Starling as far as I'm concerned. Ted Levin as Buffalo Bill is one of the creepiest motherfuckers ever put to film, and I would be remiss not to mention Jonathan Demme's gorgeous direction and Ted Talley's script. This is a beautiful movie with some of the best dialogue ever put to film. The back and forth between Starling and Lecter is as thought-provoking as it is haunting. This film is expertly paced. Honestly, I really don't have many negatives towards this film. It's damn near flawless, if I'm being honest. It's only at number 3 because I personally believe the next 2 entries in the franchise are better. So, that should give you a good taste of things to come. At number 2 for me is Manhunter. I've come to discover that many people have not heard of this film, and it's really not hard to see why. It was a massive flop upon release, didn't have Anthony Hopkins in the role of Lecter, and it was remade into Red Dragon after Hannibal hit it big at the box office. I can kind of understand how this film fell into obscurity, though it is a shame because this film is fucking amazing. There were parts in Red Dragon that could drag on a little too long. Manhunter is perfectly paced from beginning to end. Admittedly, as I said, I think Ralph Fiennes is the better Francis Dolarhyde, but Tom Noonan still pulls off the character flawlessly. William Peterson from CSI portrays Will Graham in this one, and I loved the way he played it. His facial expressions alone convey so much in certain scenes, and he manages to capture that sense of empathy and inner turmoil that the character should have. Believe it or not, a performance that really sticks out to me in this film for a side character is Freddie Lowndes, played by a completely unrecognizable Stephen Lang. Every time I watch this film, I have to keep doing double takes because it's really hard to believe it's him. It is really a testament to how much range Stephen Lang has as an actor. He can play a gruff badass, he can play a coward, he can play a slimy douchebag working for tabloids. I'm sorry, that's range. But the best scene in the film is where he's confronted by Dolarhyde. It's one of the best acted scenes in this series, and while I liked the other actors who played the character, none of them simply measure up to this. No matter how hard they try, they simply can't get there. But now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Brian Cox playing Hannibal Lecter. How is he? Is he bad? Is he brilliant? Guys, let me just say this so it's clear. It's Brian fucking Cox. Of course he's brilliant. Is it weird seeing him play it instead of Hopkins? A little, I guess, but if people can praise Mads Mikkelsen playing the character, I'm sorry, I think Brian Cox deserves just as much love. Just a little backstory on his casting. Cox auditioned for Hannibal Lecter with his back turned to the filmmakers, and he was hired on the spot. That's a great fucking actor. And his scenes with Peterson, while few and far between, are very well handled. Better than Hopkins? Not necessarily, but honestly, there has not been one actor to portray the character badly, in my opinion. All of them bring something very unique to the role. All in all, it really just depends on what you're looking for and what you're more into. I put this above Silence of the Lambs not because I think it has the better Lecter, so don't get that twisted. I put it above that because I honestly think this is a better movie. The action, the acting, the storyline, the pacing, Michael Mann's direction, all of it makes Manhunter a more than worthy film in the Hannibal Lecter franchise. I may like Red Dragon, I may love Silence of the Lambs, but sometimes you simply can't beat the original. Well, in movies anyway. And coming in at number 1 for me is Hannibal the TV series. Let me make this clear. Hannibal is one of the best shows I have ever seen. A show that reveals the early days of Will Graham's career when he would consult with Hannibal on his cases. We were told in the novels, in Manhunter and Red Dragon, we were told that they used to be friends before Will caught him. And we even got a small glimpse of this at the beginning of Red Dragon. However, we've never seen that relationship portrayed until now. And what this show did was better than anything I could have come up with in my head. And I'm just going to come out and say it. Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen, not only are they perfect together, they are my favorite interpretations of Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter. I loved William Peterson, and I thought Edward Norton was fine, but Hugh Dancy is the definitive version of the character for me. The way he visualizes crime scenes, letting his emotions eat him inside, feeling empathy for the killers he's hunting, all of it is everything this character needs to be, and Hugh Dancy acts his fucking ass off. But it's his interactions with Mads Mikkelsen's Hannibal Lecter that really make the show worth watching. Like, this makes the fucking show. You see the extent of their friendship and their professional relationship, and how it all comes to a head is not only tragic, but rather heartbreaking. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing you he was never really there, and that's exactly what Hannibal does to Will. He's still a cannibal, he's still killing people, but it's seeing his growing respect for Will go head to head with his need to play Will like a fiddle that really sells this role. I honestly cannot praise this show enough. The visuals, the character development, the acting, the story progression, it's all flawless. Now, while it does change a couple elements from the books to accommodate the show, such as killing characters early who shouldn't be dead yet, and gender swapping Freddie Lounds, which actually I thought was a pretty cool idea, I feel these changes actually helped the show and were justified. There was never any moment in this show where I got bored or wanted to stop watching. I just wanted this damn thing to keep going, and I am still pissed it was canceled after season 3. I was happy they were at least able to do the Tooth Fairy storyline before it ended, but come on, there was so much potential with the works of Thomas Harris. You easily could have set the 4th season a couple years later and brought in Clarice and Buffalo Bill into the mix. Wouldn't that have been awesome? Seeing Will Graham and Clarice Starling together? I guess we'll never know. Still, I'm grateful for the 3 seasons I did get, and at least season 3 is conclusive for the series for what it's worth. If you've never seen it, gather around the Christmas dinner table and treat yourself. So how would you rank this series? Please let me know in the comments, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more.